I don't know what to do.
I think he's just
I had an exam tomorrow,
just
and
like
my
freaking
anxiety
out.
We broke up.
I'm pretty sure she was talking shit about me.
I ought to get a
don't want to do for my bed today.
But they make fun of me.
I wish I could go back in time and change things. And yeah, that's what I would do. Just don't quote me on that.
This has honestly been such a good week already, and it's only Wednesday, and tomorrow I'm traveling. I'm going to Mexico. I'm gonna go visit Roberto, my boyfriend. So welcome to this week's episode of Don't Quote Me on That. I'm really excited to bring you guys this time with me because I know that last time I did a very bad job at vlogging when I went to Mexico, but this time I promise that I'm gonna be really good. I'm gonna vlog everything. You guys are gonna come along with us to everything that we're doing. We're honestly gonna do a bunch of very fun things. I can't promise that Roberto is gonna be in a lot of the clips because he does not like social media, but you guys are still gonna see everything that we're doing. I'm still in Miami. I leave tomorrow. I just spent the whole day at the office. I still have a couple of more things to do, and then bro, I have so many errands to run before my flight. I have a hair appointment this afternoon. I have to pack because some of us decide to pack last minute, and tomorrow also work, but then cutting work short, going to the airport. I have to drop my dog off at the doggy hotel. So lots of things to do before Mexico, but that is what this week's episode of Don't Quote Me on That is about. You guys are gonna come with me, so let's go spend the weekend in Mexico. I'm so excited. I don't want to get too much into it and spoil everything that we're gonna do. I'm just gonna bring you guys with me. So I'm gonna go back inside because I was having my little lunch break. I just finished having lunch. I like to come out here because my office building has this very nice terrace and nobody comes and sits out here. I understand it's peak of July, it's very hot, but it's so gorgeous. Why would you not sit out here? And it's also a breather from the office, you know? So I'm gonna go back inside, finish everything up so I can leave everything organized, and then we'll go run errands, running around, and then we can finally get on that plane. I really wanna go. I'm so excited to see him. I'm so excited for everything that we're gonna do. And I'm really excited to bring you guys along with me. So welcome to this week's episode of Don't Quote Me on That. Okay, yeah, sure, go in front of me. At least turn your blinker on. Oh, now you wave. Anyways, sorry. I'm pulling up to the hair salon now. I am a couple of minutes late. I'm 15 minutes late. There was a lot of traffic coming back from the office. But yeah, I'm really excited. We're just gonna touch up my hair. I don't know if you guys remember, but a while ago I had highlights. So this is my natural hair color, which is dark brown, very dark brown. And I had highlights for a couple of years, and then during spring break I decided to go back to my natural dark brown. But obviously when you bleach your hair and then you try to go back to dark, the bleach starts showing after you wash your hair for a while. So I'm just gonna touch it up because it's starting to come out a little bit. I feel like it's getting a little bit lighter, and then with the sun sometimes it looks a little bit reddish now because of the highlights coming back out from underneath. So we're just gonna touch it up, nothing crazy. It is gonna look a lot darker right after I get it done, and then it'll chill in a couple of after a few washes. Okay, we're here. I'll see you guys inside. Woo! I've never driven this car before and it terrifies me. I had explosive diarrhea this morning driving it. Not really, but you know what I mean. I was pooping my pants. So that's what we're gonna do. Not a bleach and tone. Oh, I'm so far away from the brother. I can't even reach. I need to open the door. This is embarrassing. This is so embarrassing. Oh my god. Good morning. It's the next day. I'm so excited. It's travel day. I didn't finish filming last night and didn't show you guys my hair, but this is how it turned out. It just looks a little bit darker, but I'm really happy with the touch up and everything that we did. I did pack a lot of things last night. I packed all of my clothes and everything. I'm just missing like toiletries, makeup, filming stuff. I think that's it. And I still have to go drop off Caleb. So as you guys can tell, I didn't end up going to the office, which was my original plan. But we talked about it with my mom and it's so true. I was just gonna waste a lot of time in traffic, driving to the office and back and everything. So I'm just gonna do work from home. I already sent out a couple of emails. I honestly don't have that much more to do today, which is nice. So I can take my time packing, getting ready, looking out cute because I'm gonna see Roberto tonight. And let's go finish packing and organizing everything. And then we're gonna go drop him off and then we go to the airport. So that's what today's going to look like. And I probably should do more work because it's Thursday. I have like no excuse to not do work. Tomorrow, I kind of have a little bit more of an excuse because I'm gonna be in Mexico with my boyfriend. So I'm not gonna be working as much. But today, Thursday, I kind of have to do more work. But I'm still in my pajamas. So, which is nice though. I love working in my pajamas and just, I don't have any meetings today. So that's why I can afford to look like a bum. I'm really tired. Oh, my mom tells me to cover my mouth when I yawn. Sorry, Mom. I already had 2 coffees. Well, no, actually 1 coffee. It's time for my second one. But let's go make a matcha, actually. Because, Mommy, can I make you matcha? ¿Te puedo hacer un matcha? Yo sé que no te gusta, pero es que yo lo hago daily. Trust me. Okay. That's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna make a matcha because I brought matcha back from Japan and I haven't tried it yet. And I like to think that excuse me, Caleb. Hello? I'm filming over here. I'm trying to do something. I like to think I make a pretty darn good matcha, but my mom hates matcha. So I'm gonna make one and hopefully she likes it. Same way that she liked Love Island. See, she doesn't trust me, but I make pretty good decisions in life. I'm getting a little bit delulu. I just want to hop on the plane and be on my way. Okay. I'm talking too much again. Having long hair comes in really clutch if you don't have a hair tie. You can tie a bun without needing a hair tie. If I don't cover my mouth when I yawn, my mom gets mad because she says that's impolite, which is true. At first I didn't know how much matcha I needed to add, but now I figured it out and it's so good. My mom kind of liked it. Not really. in Mexico now. It's the next day. I got in pretty late last night, and Roberto and I just went to go get tacos. And then this morning he had to go to work. I also had to do work, so I did work on the computer. I had breakfast with his sister, and I just finished getting ready. I did my makeup. I filmed a couple of brand deals, and I'm just gonna wait for him to get back from work. I'm just gonna hang out with his sister, and then we're gonna go to lunch with his mom. And then later this afternoon, we're gonna go to his friend's house. His friends just got back from Madrid. So these are like friends that I haven't met yet. Last time that I was in Mexico, I met some of his friends. But this time I'm gonna meet these new friends, and then I think we're gonna go out tonight. So that's what I'm gonna be doing for today. So I'm gonna bring you guys with me. This is what I'm wearing. Wait, let me show you guys better. This is today's outfit. I love this dress. It's the one that I opened last week. This is from Revolve. I think it's super pretty, and I'm very excited. I'm super happy that I'm here. We just had a, what's it called? We just had an earthquake simulation because it kind of earthquakes a lot in Mexico. So they had like an earthquake simulation. We thought it was actually earthquaking, which I know that like you should technically freak out over an earthquake, but I've never experienced an earthquake, so I was kind of excited. I was like, wait, it's earthquaking? Like I just wanted to feel it, but no, it was a simulation, all good. So that's what we're gonna be doing for today. I think his sister's ready, so I'm gonna go hang out with her.
Lugar que en el botánico.
Ese es un aguachile rojo, la marca de habanero.
Yo con mi bota. Sencillo que hace falta la ninguno ya la hora del desayuno.
Basic getting bright. We used to dance the night away, hang out the whole next day, laughing, having fun.
You guys, I am back in Miami. Mexico was so much fun. I didn't talk to you guys the last day just because honestly we were super tired and I didn't pick up my camera just to like talk to you guys. But that's everything that we did that day. We went to a museum, we had lunch, we went to the movies. That's the last thing we did. And then the next day I came back. Now I'm back home and back in Miami, and I'm very excited for this week's episode because we're going to do a Q&A. I have never done a Q&A before. And I just think it's appropriate so that you guys get to know me better and we can build a better relationship together together. So that's why this episode belongs to Coaches Don't Play, which is the category where we talk about relationships. And this is one relationship, the one that you and I have. So I asked you guys on my Instagram story to ask me questions, whether it's like basic info that you want to know about me, or whether it's like tea and like personal things. So get personal with me on this episode, and let's just get started with like a brief intro. So, hi, my name is Gabriela Andrade. I am from Bogota, Colombia. I am 20 years old. My birthday is the 29th of August, so I'm a Virgo. And this is Caleb. This is my dog, Caleb. You guys have seen him in a couple of episodes. So I'm from Colombia. I'm from Bogota. Somebody was asking that, like, what part of Colombia I'm from. And if Medellin is my hometown, I am not from Medellin. I'm from Bogota, which is the capital. I grew up there and lived there my whole life. I have lived more years in Bogota than I have in the US. So we moved to the US 7 years ago when I was 13. So we've been here for 7 years, but I haven't been in Miami those full 7 years. So the first year that we moved to Miami, I went to school here. I went to Miami Country Day, which is a private co-ed school. And honestly, I wasn't the biggest fan of it just because I kind of thought that the kids were a little bit snobby, and they are snobby. So I was like, not my cup of tea. Peace out, Girl Scout. And I left for boarding school. So I did freshman year here in Miami, and then sophomore, junior, and senior, I did them in Connecticut at Kent School, which is also a co-ed private boarding school. And boarding school was one of the best things in the entire world. Like, I absolutely loved boarding school. So many people always ask me, like, how was that? Like, boarding school sounds just not fun at all. But it's just like a baby college, you know? Like, you obviously have a lot more rules than in college because you're still like teenagers in high school. But it is like baby college. So when I got to Boston for college, I was a lot more prepared than a lot of my friends were. So boarding school was definitely one of the best decisions that I ever made. I loved my school. It was very hard when I graduated just because I missed it so much. But after Kent and after I graduated from high school, I graduated high school at 17. So I've always been very young. That's just because I skipped a grade in middle school. So that's why I graduated at 17, just because I skipped that year. So I started college at 17, and I turned 18 right when we started college, just because my birthday is like right at the beginning of the school year. Like, my birthday either falls on like the first day of school or like 2 days into classes. So I turned 18 right when I started college. I went to Babson College. It's in Boston. It's #1 school for entrepreneurship, which is what I concentrated in. Babson is only a business school, so you don't have kids studying medicine and architecture and law. Like, everybody's studying business, but you can definitely concentrate in different areas of business. So some people concentrated in marketing, some people concentrated in finance, accounting, and I decided to concentrate in entrepreneurship and econ. So that's what my bachelor's degree is for, business. Like, the whole degree says Bachelor's of Business and Administration with a concentration in entrepreneurship and econ. Just following off of what you guys asked here, one of you wanted to know what school I went to in Bogota. So I went to El Anglo Colombiano. I absolutely love that school. I think it's such a sick school, like the program and everything. It's a really beautiful campus as well. And my mom went there, so it was just kind of like a given that my sister and I were going to go there. And I definitely love that school. Like, I think it was a really cool experience to be there. So when and why did we move to the US? So when, 7 years ago, but why? Just because my parents wanted, you know, like the American dream, to give us as many opportunities as we could, more than the ones that they had growing up. I also have a whole episode talking about the experience of like moving to the US. It's called The American Dream. So go check it out. So how like moving to a different country, how that experience was, that is all in that episode. But I will just say it was a hard thing for me. I moved when I was 13, so that was like right at the beginning of like starting your teenage years. So leaving friends behind, adapting to a new culture, it was very hard. And I'm just going to stem off of one of the questions here, which was, how do I have a perfect accent when I moved at 13? Well, thank you very much for saying that I have a perfect accent. I guess that's just because my dad, he started learning English when he was 30, like in his 30s. And that's something that always like traumatized him a little bit, the fact that he does have a very strong accent in English. So he always wanted to make sure that we didn't have a strong accent. So that's why he moved us here. That's why movies and everything, they were always in English. But like in English, like starting at 13, like if you play me a Disney movie, I probably know it in Spanish. Like I know the Backyardigans in Spanish. Spanish. Like my whole childhood was in Spanish. That is my first language. That is the language that we speak at home. But I guess what really helped with my English was boarding school, because when I first moved here, I did have an accent. Like my friends did tell me, like, you have an accent, like we can tell you're Latina, like you definitely have your accent there. But I would say that boarding school really just solidified my English, because even after class, I was still talking in English. Like it was English 24/7. Whereas if I would have stayed in Miami, Miami is very Latin. Like there's a lot of Latinos here in Miami. And after classes, I would have come back home and been talking in Spanish with my family. So I guess what really, really perfected the accent would be boarding school. But that is something that was hard when I moved here. Like the language barrier was definitely a little bit hard. I didn't know a lot of words. I didn't know a lot of the slang. So it was a hard process, but I guess thank you so much for telling me that I have a good accent. My dad would be very proud of that. And before I get into like other deeper questions, I have a little sister. Her name's Maria. She is 17. She's turning 18 soon, which I'm very excited about. It's also kind of creepy, the fact that she's growing up so fast. My parents have been married for 24 years, so they're definitely my example for love and marriage. And I love both of them so much. They're both amazing people. And my sister is also one of the most amazing persons I know. So I definitely feel very lucky and blessed to have the family that I have. So we're a family of 4. Except for this little guy. This is my son because he's mine. He's not like the family dog. Like he's my dog. And this is Caleb. So now let's get into less bio-y questions. How tall am I? You guys really wanted to know how tall I am, because I guess that does not translate on camera, but I am 6 feet tall. And I've gotten it before, like whenever I bump into one of you guys, like just out and about, the first thing that I get is, you're a lot taller than what I thought, just based on your TikToks. So I am 6 feet tall. She's a tall lady. She has long legs. And that just comes from both of the sides of my families. Like my dad is 6'4", I think. And on my mom's side, she's pretty tall for like the average Colombian person. I don't even know how tall my mom is, to be honest with you. But her brother and her cousins are also very tall. So on both sides of my family, I have tall genetics. So she's a tall girl. I'm 6 feet tall. What is my favorite food? My favorite food is sushi. I guess obviously my favorite food would be Colombian food. I love bandeja paisa, cuajada con melado, ajiaco, like whatever it is. But favorite food is sushi. Die-hard sushi fan over here. I could eat, sleep, and breathe sushi. So that's why I had a lot of fun in Japan. Okay, so this question is, am I planning on living at home for a while? So that was sort of like the trajectory of me at school. Colombia for 13 years, Miami for a year, and then boarding school for 3, and then college for 3, because I graduated early from college. We'll talk about that in a minute, because that was one of the questions. So after I graduated from college, my original plan had always been to move to New York. I've always had a very big dream of living in New York, one that I hope I can accomplish at some point in my 20s. Like I definitely want to move there at some point, like even if it's for a year or 2, but I just need to live in New York. Like I need to fulfill that dream, because it's been a dream of mine since I can even remember. I've always wanted to live in New York. So my OG plan was right after graduation to move to New York and live and work there for a couple of years, because I definitely know that I don't want to live there for forever and like raise kids and have a family there. But I did want to spend my 20s there. So that was the OG plan. But based on the fact that I went to boarding school and then I also went to college in Boston, so not in Miami, away from home, I haven't lived at home in 7 years, and I'm 20, you know? So I literally spent all of my teens away from home, away from my family, away from my sister, my parents. I feel like I missed out a lot of time with them. I would only see them on the holidays, so Thanksgiving, spring break, Christmas, things like that. But I haven't really lived at home in 7 years. I missed out my teens. Well, not like I missed out my teens, because I had a really amazing experience both at boarding school and at college, and I wouldn't change it for anything in the world. But that sacrifice of a better education and of gaining a lot of independence, because I gained a lot of independence and just becoming my own little person, that came at the expense of being away from home and missing a lot of time away from my family. So when graduation was coming up and I was like, okay, it's time to apply for jobs and look for a job in New York and like start figuring out New York, I thought to myself, like, why are you going to move away when you've been away, you know, like this right now, these first years of my early 20s, they're really the only time that I can live with my parents before I eventually do have to move out. And I don't do that right now. If I don't live with my parents now, I'm never going to live with my parents again. So I have to take advantage of the fact that I graduated early and that I'm still very young and that I can postpone that New York dream and living alone, because I have been living alone for many years. You know, like I feel like it's different when you did high school with your parents and living at home. And even if you went to college like near home and you spent so much time at home, you get to a point where you're like, okay, now I want to live by myself. Now I want to have my own place and things like that. But I've already done that, you know, like I've been alone for 7 years. I had an apartment for 3 years. So I did all of that already. Now I'm doing it backwards and now I'm coming back home. So I do plan on living at home for a little bit. I don't know how long it's going to be, but definitely a couple of years, just because I want to make up that time. And honestly, I love it. I love coming back home and feeling like a kid again, even though I'm not. But I get to work and still pursue my career and still feel very independent while just spending time with them. You know, like your parents are not getting younger. So definitely take advantage of your family. And I love my family. So that's why I wanted to spend more time with them. So I am going to be living at home for a while. And that's sort of like the reason why. You guys also asked, why did I decide to go to college in Boston and not Miami? For me, the idea of college always had to be like a very Harry Potter Hogwarts vibes, you know? Like I needed something cold, northeast, more like old and rustic, even though Babson has a very modern campus. But I don't know, the only options in Miami that could have been an option for me would have been UM and FIU. And I just didn't picture myself like going to college in such a tropical city and like in tropical weather and then having the beach like right next to me. That did not fit the idea of college for me. Like college had to be somewhere where it snowed. I don't know. Like that was just the idea of college for me. I also wanted a small school. I didn't want a very party school because I don't love partying. And UM and FIU both go hard when it comes to partying. So, like, it's nothing against Miami. Well, a little bit. I don't know. I didn't see myself going to class in, like, a tank top and shorts. I saw myself going to class in, like, a jacket and, like, jeans and, like, that vibe. So the Northeast was always the vibe for me. Like, I didn't even consider the West Coast, like LA. Like, that also doesn't fit the college idea for me. But that's just me. That's just me and my weird nonsenses of like aesthetic for college. That's just how I always pictured college. So I was only considering schools in the Northeast. So that's why I went to college in Boston and not Miami. You guys really want to know about graduating early, recovery throughout college, my apartment in college, and then just like motivation throughout college, discipline, and graduating early. So I did college in 3 years instead of 4. And the way I did that was just overloading. So that's taking more classes than you're supposed to. At Babson, you take 4 classes each semester. So 2 of those semesters, I took 5 classes. And then the 3 summers at Babson that I was there, I took summer classes every single summer. So at Babson, the max amount of classes that you can take each summer is 3 classes. So I took 3 classes for 3 summers. So I just like crammed a lot of classes and like overloaded and like gave myself a lot more work just so I could finish all of the credits up earlier and graduate earlier. And honestly, I just wanted to graduate early because I have a lot of testing anxiety, okay, and school related anxiety, like studying for tests, getting good grades. That is something that always freaked the crap out of me just because I put a lot of pressure on myself. I always wanted to get straight A's and graduate with honors. So college was always a very stressful place for me. And I knew that I wanted to get my education and get my degree, but to do it as fast as I could so I could get the hell out of there and I could start working. Because when you work is something that you're passionate about, or at least should be something that you're passionate about. And hopefully you can find a job or a career or your own business that you're really passionate about. So it doesn't even feel like work. It just feels like a passion project that you're working towards, something that you really enjoy doing. And then once you're done with work, you clock out. Like you close your computer and you don't have to do homework. You don't have to stress and study for a test. So that's why I really just wanted to be done with college, but also get my education and my degree. And that's something that I knew that I wanted to do from the jump. Like even before I started my freshman year, I told everyone, it's like, I'm going to graduate in 3 years. Like I want to get this thing done, but like get it done as fast as I can. And everybody told me like, you're going to regret it so much. College are the best 4 years of your life. Like you're so dumb for doing that. Like you're like, just watch, just wait and see when you start college. Like you're going to want to stay there as long as you can. That was not the case for me. I still wanted to get the hell out of there. Not because Babson was a bad school, not because I had a bad experience. It was so awesome and I miss it so much. Like whenever I think about my apartment in Boston and the town around campus and driving to campus and hanging out with friends, like I get very nostalgic. They were the best 3 years and I'm going to miss them forever. But I am very happy with my decision and I'm really glad of just like post-college life. Like I think life after college is way better than life in college, but life in college was great for me as well. So I don't think one diminishes the other. Like they were both great, but it's something that I always knew that I wanted to do. And that's why I did it. My apartment was something that I loved. I have always wanted to live by myself, to have my own place, to decorate it the way I wanted to organize it the way I wanted to. And I feel very lucky and privileged that I got to do that. I never had a roommate just because I knew that I wanted that space to be like my safe haven and not have anybody bother me and not have to like talk to anybody if I didn't want to. So I loved the fact that I could do that. And I'm very grateful for the fact that I could have my own little place. And that's something that I definitely miss. Like my apartment was amazing. I love it. I love living at home, but I do love just living by myself as well. But I must confess, like, I never felt lonely because I do think that there's a very big difference between lonely and alone. So I never felt lonely. Like I can keep myself company. I will gladly hang out by myself and I have no problem with that. I don't feel lonely ever just because I know I got me, you know, but I was tired of being alone, like physically alone, just because I spent so many years alone, like throughout boarding school and throughout college. Because at boarding school, a couple of years, I also like was in a dorm by myself. So I was just tired of being physically alone, of not having people around me, not because I felt lonely, but just because I was tired of it. So I do love living by myself and I did love the apartment experience. But now I love the fact that I get to come back home from work and that there's people around me and people that I can talk to before going to bed and laugh with. So it's a very nice feeling. So when you ask about motivation and discipline for graduating early, well, that's the key, that there's a very big difference between motivation and discipline, because motivation is your desire to do something and discipline is the thing that gets you to do that thing. So I've always known my goals and I've had them very clear. I knew I wanted to graduate early. I knew I wanted to graduate with honors. So have your goals very, very clear and set. Like if you need to write them down on a piece of paper and tape them to your mirror so that you see them every morning, then do that. But have your goals super, super clear, and your motivation is going to run out because life kind of sucks sometimes, you know? Sometimes you're going to be tired. Sometimes things don't go the way that you planned. Sometimes you're just not in the mood to do your homework. You're not in the mood and you're tired and you don't want to do things. But if you don't do it, you're not going to get there. So that's where the discipline part comes in. It's the fact that you've trained yourself that no matter how you're feeling, whether you're sad, annoyed, happy, super excited to do it, whether you're feeling tired and lazy, whether you had a really shitty day or you had the best day, you get your ass up and you do it because you have that goal that you want to get to. So I knew exactly what I wanted, and I knew that sitting on my ass and watching a TV show and not doing my homework and not studying was not going to get me there. I have very ambitious goals for my career and in my 20s, and I knew that to get there, I needed to study. So just have your goals very clear. And even when you're tired, you get up and you get it done. I firmly believe that discipline is the thing that separates the people that accomplish things and the people that don't, because you can't rely on motivation. So if you want something, you need to want it really bad, and that's the motivation. But you also have to have it very clear that you have to work in order to get there. It's not just going to come to you. You need to get up and do things. And whenever I was feeling tired, whenever I didn't want to study for that test, whenever I was like, let me just watch Netflix for 5 more minutes, I was like, no. Because if you do that, you're not going to accomplish your dreams. Because keep in mind, I was also doing like social media and this show and everything with college simultaneously. So I really had to push myself hard, but I feel like it paid off at the end. ED recovery in college. Honestly, my ED was probably the worst. It was freshman year of college. that's the year that I fainted and I had to get rushed to the hospital. But something that really helped was, and honestly, not because I told my friends, just because that's not something that you really tell people, but it's something that my friends started to notice. So it's really good if you have a support system and people that really care about you and they're going to keeping an eye out on you. Like, I remember a lot of my friends would tell me, like, hello, did you eat today? Like, they would be my constant reminders. They would sit down with me and be like, you're not going to get up from this chair until we finish this meal together. Or they would even call my mom and be like, bro, like, she hasn't eaten today. Like, we're very stressed. We're very worried about her. So that's something that I'm very grateful for, that I had a really good support system that noticed what I was going through and tried and found ways to help me. So if your friends haven't noticed yet and you've noticed, because at that point I was in denial. You know, at that point I was like, what the hell are you guys talking about? Like, I'm fine. They were the ones that were like, wake up, you're not fine. But if you realize it and you know that you're struggling with food, then I would say talk to them. Talk to them so that they can help you. And if they are genuine and good friends, they will sit down with you and have a meal with you. And they will keep an eye on you because they want what's best for you. You guys want to know if I am religious. So I am religious. I do believe in God. I do believe that there is a powerful, almighty God that is the creator of the universe and that created me. You don't have to agree with anything that I'm about to say, but this is just what I believe in. So I do believe in God. I pray every single morning, every single night, every single time that I get in the car. Like, I'm always praying, like, all the time. And whether that's just being grateful and saying, like, thank you for everything that I have and everything that we have, like, so far. But I'm always asking and praying for health, for safety, for happiness. I'm always praying that the people around me and the people I love, that they accomplish all the dreams, all their goals, that they're healthy, that they're safe, that they're happy, and that they feel at peace with themselves. So I do pray all the time, and I would consider myself a religious person. I do believe in God. And the religion that I identify the most with is Christianity. There are a couple of things in the Bible that I don't agree with to a T. I would say I agree with it to like a 95% extent. So that's why I call myself a Christian, because that's what I mostly identify with. But there are definitely certain things in the Bible that I'm like, really? But I do believe in God. I do. I have a very firm and faithful belief in him. But that's just me. You don't have to agree. Okay, so I feel bad about this, but you guys asked, and a lot of you wanted to know how I met my boyfriend, and is long distance ever going to end, and how do you manage it? So I've talked about this on my TikTok. I don't know if I talked about this here, but my boyfriend and I want to keep our relationship very private, and we want to keep it to ourselves and not disclose a lot of our relationship just on the internet. It's mostly because he doesn't want our relationship to be out on the internet, and he's not a social media person, which I completely respect. So how we met is something that we want to keep for ourselves. I will tell you guys, we met at college. That's just a very basic thing. We met at college. We graduated together. So that's where we met. But the whole story of how everything happened and everything, we want to keep for us, and for our families and our friends. And I hope you guys can respect that. But I did want to answer just a little bit on is long distance ever going to end, and how do you manage it? So long distance is going to end. I've talked about this before. He's going to move to Miami next year. So that's not a secret. I've talked about it before. So long distance will hopefully end in 9 months. And how do we manage it? I don't want to get too much into our specific dynamic for long distance, again, just because it's something that we want to keep private. But I'm just going to say that long distance is the easiest thing in the world when you're so obsessed and in love with that person. Obviously, every relationship is different. So the specific things that you're doing with your partner to help long distance and to survive long distance, that just depends on every single couple. I know couples that see each other for longer periods of time and they do that less often, and then couples that see each other more often for a shorter period of time. I know couples that will do one FaceTime a day. I know couples that stay on the phone 24/7. I just feel it really depends on you and your person and your schedule and his or her schedule. It completely depends. But overall, it should be a very easy thing if you're completely and madly in love with them and they are with you too. That's all I'm going to say about that. That for me, it's been the easiest thing ever, just because I'm crazy about that kid. You guys want to know how I balance work and the podcast. So I've honestly been able to manage it as much as like it is very hard because it is a lot of work to go to work and spend like 8 or 9 hours at the office and then come back home and have to work on the show, on TikTok, brand deals, PR, whatever it is for a couple of like 3 or 4 hours in the afternoons. So it is a very like hectic and boom schedule. But I've been able to manage it just because I have OCD. And my OCD is not just like keep your closet color coordinated. That is also part of my OCD, but my OCD is also like very like structured to my life and having everything organized and planned. So I always have a planner with me. I always have a little calendar where I'm writing what I need to do today, what I need to do tomorrow. So for the podcast, I built a schedule. So like on Mondays, I will film this, and then on Tuesdays, I will edit this, and then on Thursdays, I will take these pictures. So I broke it out just by days so that I'm not doing everything last minute and I'm not filming, editing, posting everything on one day. I spread it out throughout the week. But honestly, just creating a plan and a schedule for me was the easiest thing. And it is a lot of work. Like there's some days where I fall behind, where I'm tired and I'm like, I just want to go to bed. I don't want to edit anything right now. Like I'm tired. But I've been doing it because I love it. So just organizing myself has been honestly the key to anything that I've done in life. Organizing myself, having a plan, having a schedule. And that's the way I've been able to get things done. Social anxiety. Girly pop, I cannot give you advice for social anxiety because I'm still struggling with social anxiety. Like if somebody introduces me to someone, I will start a conversation now. You know, like not even start the conversation, but like if my parents or my boyfriend or my sister or whoever, they're like, hey, this is my girlfriend or this is my sister, Gabriela. And I'm like, hi, nice to meet you. Like, then I'll start talking. But I'm not going to go up to a person and talk to them. Absolutely not. That still scares me. That still terrifies me. So I still struggle very much so with social anxiety. So I can't like give you advice for introducing yourself to people. I have noticed that whenever I do try to just forget about the fact that people scare me, I do become a more open person. And whenever I do start talking to people, I like get a little bit more confident, and then I'll let loose eventually. But that first, hi, how are you? My name is Gabriela. I just wanted to introduce myself. That still terrifies the crap out of me. So we'll work on it together because like the one thing that I have been able to get rid of is whenever I see people talking about me, because come on, you can tell when somebody's talking about you. Whenever I see people talking about me, I always used to choose to believe the worst. And I think it has a lot to do with your mindset. I chose to believe like they're talking shit about me. You know, now I choose to believe like, oh, they're probably just complimenting your outfit. Whether they are or not, it doesn't matter. It's just me trying to train my brain into not thinking that people are always saying mean and negative things. But that's the only thing that I've been really able to work on. But introducing myself to people, still a big ass struggle. Types of friends at Babson. So Babson is a very cliquey school when it comes to friend groups. I don't know why, but friend groups at Babson get broken down by nationalities. So we have the Indian people, the Asian people, the Turkish people, the Latinos, the Americans. Like they get broken down. The British people, like we break down people through nationalities. I don't know why it happens, but like people just click into like group of friends based on where you're from. I never really hung out with the Latinos just because, again, part of me like honoring my dad's efforts was like I want to speak more English and I just want to get better at that. And I knew that if I hung out with Latinos all the time, I was going to speak Spanish all the time. So I tried not to do that, even though I did hang out with them last semester a lot. And I wish I would have hung out with them sooner because they are amazing people. And now I have really close friends thanks to me hanging out with the Latinos. But it was a group. Like they are all groups. But my group of friends, we never, my group of friends, we created sort of like an international group. Like we had people from the US, from Europe and Greece and India and Latin. I was the Latina there. I don't think there was another Latin person in our group of friends. So we had friends from all different like skin tones, nationalities, and it was amazing. Like I absolutely love my friend group and the fact that it was so diverse and we had so many cultures and so many races within our group. It was awesome. So I always chose to have more of an international friend group. but that's not the most common thing at Babson. Like at Babson, people usually stick to their nationalities, and that's how they create like friend groups. How to make new friends and how to not have a specific type in the people I like, and then friendship breakups. So for friendship breakups, I'm going to do a whole other episode on that because I feel like that's a very important topic that we can like definitely dive a lot into. How to make new friends. I don't know because my social anxiety prevents me from doing so. Like I went to go get my nails done yesterday and I sat next to this girl that was like right next to me, and she started talking to me. She was like, "Where are you from?" And I was like, "Colombia. Where are you from?" And then we started a conversation, and then I got her Instagram, not because I asked, obviously, because she asked me, but now I have a friend, but I didn't make it. So I don't know. Like that is something that I still struggle with a lot. Like opening up to people, making new friends, being the first one to go up to someone and be like, "Hey, like where are you from? Like you're very pretty. Like maybe you want to hang out sometime. Like what's your Instagram?" That's still something that I don't know how to do. So, I'm very shy at first. And a lot of my friends will tell me that like they're like at first, like it took a while for you to crack open. And I was like, "Yeah, I know." I feel like when you're young, it's also a lot easier. Like if you're in high school and college, like you go to class, you know, like you can meet people there. But now that I'm in my 20s, living like in Miami, and then I work by myself at the office, and then everybody that works in my office building is like 30, I have no idea how I'm going to make friends. I mean, I made one yesterday at the nail salon. That was awesome. But that's just because she asked me for my Instagram. I'll work on it, and I'll get back to you on that one. How to like more people and how to not have a specific type. I honestly feel like it's fine if you have a type. Obviously, you don't want to like copy paste the people that you date, and then if you line them up in a line, like they all look the same. I mean, that's also fine if you have like a specific physical type, but I feel like your type should be very specific and should be the same when it comes to people's personalities and their hearts and their brains. At the end of the day, that's all that matters in your partner. They're going to get old. They're going to get wrinkly. Like, we all just don't look hot and pretty when we get old, and you want a partner for life. So I don't feel like their physical appearance matters as much. What really matters is what's on the inside. As cringy as that sounds, it's very true. Glow up advice. Again, it's going to sound cringy, but like it is so true. The best glow ups are done from the inside out. Because sure, you can go get your nails done, you can go get a facial, you can go dye your hair, you can cut your hair, you can go to the gym and like look all bomb. Like you can do all of those physical things to look great, but you will not radiate and look glowy and look like you're the most happiest and confident person ever unless you actually feel that way. So if you want to have the most massive glow up ever, write down a list of things that make you extremely happy. Write down a list of things that fulfill you and that fill up your soul and that make you feel really good inside. And once you start doing all of those things and you genuinely feel amazing, you will look amazing. The times that people have commented on my Instagram and things like that, like you look glowing, like you look amazing, like things like that, it's because I feel really, really good. And then other times where I didn't feel really good on the inside, no matter how much I accessorized and I did facials and I did my nails and I did like that, I wasn't looking as good. The best glow ups are genuinely done when you feel amazing. You will look amazing. Favorite beauty products: Rose Skin, Rare Beauty, Charlotte Tilbury, Makeup by Mario. I feel like I'm just saying brands and not products. But any product from those brands is absolutely amazing. The House Labs foundation, I love. The Refi Clear Brow Gel, oh, amazing. Refi lip liners are just my diehard lip liners. But yeah, those are brands that I absolutely love. And then these two questions go a little bit like hand in hand, like weight loss journey and then ED recovery and guilt. I cannot for any means give you weight loss advice because I did not lose weight in a healthy way. I lost weight through multiple eating disorders, and I don't feel good telling you like how I lost weight because I would never want anyone to lose weight the way that I lost weight. It was a very unhealthy, unsafe, and very toxic thing that I did to myself and that I put myself through. So I did lose a lot of weight, but I wouldn't want you to do anything similar to what I did to lose weight. So do the basics, like go to the gym, eat healthy, but I wouldn't feel good with myself to tell you anything that came with like weight loss journey just because I didn't do it in a healthy way. And then ED recovery and guilt. ED recovery was, I didn't feel really guilty throughout the process just because I guess like what I said, like I hit rock bottom when I fainted and like had to go to the hospital. And I've noticed like now like the long-term consequences of ED. Like ED is not a joke, okay? Like I have to take so many supplements and vitamins to compensate for all of the harm that I did and put my body through. My hair falls off so much every single day. I lose like half of my head of hair because you just ruin so much of your body that is good and healthy. So ED is not a joke, but I never felt guilty while recovering just because I knew that I had a goal in mind, which was to recover. So I knew that I had to eat and I knew that I had to stop doing all of the unhealthy things that I was doing because I didn't want to go through what I had to go through again. So it never felt like a guilty thing because of just my personal experience. But I know that a lot of people who like don't go through what I went through of like having to go to the hospital. If you've just realized like, I think I have an ED and I want to recover, and then you start recovery, like that can be hard. I get completely like why that would be hard. Just like going back to a normal lifestyle of like eating a lot when you've suppressed that. And when food is like, you see it as like this, like the enemy, you know, like it's like you see it as something dangerous and something that you're scared of. It's very hard to normalize eating again for yourself. So I completely get it. So if you're going through guilt just because you're gaining weight or just because you've been eating 3 meals a day again, always tell yourself like, this is not something that I should feel guilty about. This is something that I should feel proud about. Like feel very proud about the fact that you first of all recognized that you were struggling with your relationship with food and your relationship with your body, that you wanted to take action about it. That's the second biggest step, and I feel very proud of you for that. But 3, now that you're going through the process of recovering, whenever you feel guilty, literally just look at yourself in the mirror and be like, I have nothing to feel guilty about. I have nothing to feel ashamed about. I am proud of myself. What I'm doing is because I love myself. Like you have to talk to yourself about these things. For so long, you convinced yourself that food was this negative thing and that gaining weight was this negative thing. Same way that you wired your brain to think those things, you have to unwire it. And the only way to unwire your brain is going to be by talking to yourself about it, to change the chemical composition of your brain, literally. Like you literally have to break that pattern that your brain has been structured to believe. And the only way to break it is by just repeating and repeating and repeating the opposite. Whether you're just thinking it to yourself at the dinner table, I have nothing to feel guilty about. I am very proud of myself. Food is not a negative thing. I'm doing amazing. I literally have nothing to feel ashamed of. Whether you're saying that to yourself or whether you're looking at yourself in the mirror or simply record yourself saying that. And then whenever you're feeling guilty, pop in your headphones and listen to it again. Listen to it over and over and over again until you rewire your brain's chemical structure to believe otherwise. So those are all of the questions that you guys asked. Oh my God, I feel like I've been talking for so long, but I'm really glad that we did this episode. I really hope that you guys feel like you got to know me better, whether it's just like the basic things of like how tall I am, where I'm from, growing up in school and things like that, to also just like the very specific things that you guys wanted to know about. So I'm really glad that we did this. I had a lot of fun filming this episode. So thank you for submitting your questions. We'll definitely do like an updated Q&A later on if you guys liked this type of video. And yeah, I really hope that we can build a better relationship together, that you guys get to know me better and that you guys feel like we're friends, honestly. Like I genuinely feel like we are, but I wanted you guys to feel that same way and just know a lot more about me. So thank you so much for watching and for listening, and I will talk to you guys next week.